Okay, well, I'm going to start this project again. It's always been the intention to start some kind of podcast, though I'm much more familiar and confident with a camera than with an audio recorder. And so I'm going to kick it off this time with a conversation I had with a friend, Val, who's a master guitar player and ultra runner and an all-around just really interesting guy. And just kind of set the scene. I got together with Val just before the Thanksgiving holiday at the Morristown Diner and caught up with him for about an hour and had me rolling, laughing, listening to his stories. And fortunately, I was planning on recording him in the diner, but I couldn't figure out how to handle the ambient noise in there. So jumped in his car, and here's 5 minutes of what I think are some of the greatest hits of his best stories. Enjoy. All right, this is Val's car. All right, so you want to start with the George Harrison story?
Sure. Okay, here's the deal. It was a year ago, November 18th, just over a year ago, and I was playing in the hospice center at JFK, trying to put some smiles on some people's faces, where all of a sudden I'm doing my set, and I'm playing The Long and Winding Road. And halfway through the set, I can feel this strong presence, and a warmth came over me. And the next thing I know, as I'm playing, I look over to the side. About 4 feet from me was George Harrison's spirit. And he's just standing there, and he's looking, and he's smiling, and he's watching. And I thought, this is cool. George Harrison's watching me play. How cool is this? So I finished The Long and Winding Road, and I immediately look over to the left where he was, and he's smiling, and he says, "Well done, Val." And I said, "Thank you, George." And he slowly disappeared. And it was just such a magical moment, and I will always remember it the rest of my life, and I was very grateful that he came to visit me. And if you think about it, where would George come see you? He would come see you where you were volunteering to make people happy. He wouldn't come see me at a gig where I was making $100 or even $30 or $150. But I could see if he was going to come see me one day, it would be where I was trying to do something nice for people. And maybe it was also because it was the first time I did a double. Earlier that day, I went to the Steeplechase Cancer Center, and I played for people getting their, the infusions with the chemotherapy and whatnot in Somerville. And then it was nighttime. I said, let me go play at the hospice in JFK, and I was rewarded with, George Harrison visiting me, and he liked my song.
That's a very cool story. Also, I'm just going to correct this a little bit.
Yeah.
Tell me that story. You told me this great story about how you were basically forced to play music, or how...
Yeah. Okay, those of you who know the movie Caddyshack, I had my Spalding moment because I was in 8th grade, and it was just before the beginning of 8th grade, actually. And my mother says, well, you're going to take an instrument up, Val. I said, why? She goes, because you're going to be in the marching band with your sister Valerie her senior year when you're a freshman. I said, no, I'm not. She goes, yes, you are. I said, I don't think so. So my mother said, you're going to be in the marching band. And I said, no, it's not happening. She goes, well, we'll see when Daddy gets home. And if you remember that moment in Caddyshack where Spalding goes to his father, who was Ted Knight.
Yeah.
I don't want to play golf, Daddy. And Ted Knight goes, you're going to play golf and you're going to like it. It was very similar to that because we're eating dinner. And so my mother goes to Big Val, my dad. Hey, Val, your son seems to think he's not going to be in the marching band. So my dad looks at me and he gives me a stern look. He goes, what's all this, son? I said, Dad, I really don't want to join it. You get picked on. People think you're a nerd. They call you this, they call you this. And he looked at me, he goes, you're going to join the band and you're going to like it. He goes, I don't give a shit what instrument you take. I don't care what you play, but you're taking something and you will be in the marching band. Do you understand? And I said, yes, I do, Dad. So I thought, all right, I'll screw him. What's the loudest instrument? I'll be a drummer. I didn't screw nobody. They got behind me. They bought me a snare drum. They got behind me 100%. And I'm grateful that they did because by forcing me to join the marching band, I enjoyed not 1 year, 4 phenomenal years with the marching band. And my mom said, look, if you hate it that much after freshman year, when Valerie graduates, you don't have to go out sophomore year. And I found out within a half a year, I loved the marching band. And I was in the band for 4 years. And my 2 kids, Valentine and Victoria, they were both in the marching band for 4 years as well.
That's great. So how'd you transition into guitar?
Guitar. I mean, something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, with the guitar, true story, this was that same year when he goes, you're going to join the band. I was coming home from a pickup baseball game with like 3 or 4 of my friends, and I came into the house, and there's this 12-string beginner's guitar off to the side, just laying there. So I said, "Hey, Dad." He goes, "Hey, son, what's up?" I said, "What's that?" He goes, "Yeah, that's a guitar." I said, "I know." He says, "Your Uncle Mike is furious with his son. He bought this 12-string guitar to give to him, but they had a falling out." He goes, "He wants you to have the guitar." I said, "Oh, okay." So I didn't know nothing about guitar. So there was this 10-week course every Monday night from 7 to 9.
Okay.
And my father would take me to Metuchen High School. So I'd go to school during the day, and he would take me back at night, and you would learn basic chords. And the guy there, I said, well, it's a 12-string. What do I do? He says, take 6 of the strings off. And that was the beginning of my guitar playing.
That's excellent.
That's how that got started, anyway.
So, what, either of your parents get musical people?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. My dad, he played the organ.
Okay.
And my mother could play a little bit of organ too.
Okay.
And we had a big Hammond B3 in the house.
Okay.
And it was in the family because my sister Barbara, the third child, she's really good. She's a vocal teacher and she's a piano teacher, and she got a bachelor's and a master's from Juilliard in New York, which
Oh my
is
God.
considered like
Of course.
as tough a school as you can go to.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's really great. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing.
no problem.